I'm Jessica. I'm from Glastonbury, Connecticut, for the most part, but also China, and currently undecided major, thinking about physics. I'm a first year and I've only had this season's competitions and only half of the season. We've just about hit the halfway point, so we've had, I think, 3 or 4 dual meets and one invite, so that was this past weekend. And they're fun, they're different, but they're also kind of intense, and they go by really quickly. Every practice is part of preparation for the next meet, but also the meet after that and the meet after that. It's just all one big thing. So you could say from September 18th to now is the preparation. So in the beginning we got Saturdays and Sundays off, and then that has progressed to just Sundays. But this week and next week will be special because it's final season and MIT Invite is a 3-day meet. So by NCAA regulations, we have to take a day off or 2 days off between these weeks. So at MIT Invite, I did the 200 free relay, 200 free, and then I did the 500 free, the 200 back, 100 free, and then the 400 free relay. And then I slammed the 500 free twice because I made finals. I grew up in China. I moved here in 2nd grade, and it was like 2 months into Chinese school, 2nd grade, but like half a month into American school, 2nd grade. I didn't speak English, and my elementary school teacher did her best to seat me with all the other Chinese children, but who all grew up in America. So they spoke a little bit of like Mandarin or Cantonese or whatever their parents spoke at home, but it was barely helpful enough for me or them to actually translate, because you have to imagine these like 7-year-olds trying to translate between 2 languages, and the second language is like barely spoken, and they're not really exposed to other people who speak it besides their parents and maybe a sibling or 2. Things were generally nice in elementary school, where kids are mostly innocent and they're just nice to you and they're just like, oh my god, a different kind of person, but they'll be friendly. But in middle school, I remember one kid asked me if I was Korean, and I said no. And then he asked me if I was Japanese, and I also said no. And then I said I'm Chinese, and he told me that like, no, you can't be, you don't look Chinese. You're either Korean or Japanese. And I was like, you're the whitest kid I've ever met. How do you know what a Chinese person or a Korean person or a Japanese person looks like? And then he just didn't talk to me for the rest of that year. In high school, I went to a predominantly white area, lived in a region like that. There was obviously a lot of Asian stereotypes, just like, oh, all the Asians are smart, they're in the AP classes, they have great grades, they hate getting like an A- or a B and whatnot. And that kind of bothered me because I really kind of didn't care about my grades with my upbringing. I was a spoiled child. So I just kind of did whatever I wanted to do. And then so after I got to college, where it's like everyone kind of is on the same boat, kind of, where especially at Wellesley, they were mostly the better end of the students, and they understood that you didn't really have to, it's not grades that matter, it's what you learn from the classes, or not. Sometimes it's just a bad teacher, but it's really just more about like actually being a student and learning and getting an education than just like, oh, what did you get on that test, and that's like a lot better for me.
I think Jessica is an outgoing, energetic, and kind person.
Loud, sarcastic, and she always has candy.
I think her best quality is, I guess, making fun of people is one of her better qualities. It makes her pretty fun to be around.
I think she's very tolerant to both Chinese and American culture. Although she came to America at 8 years old, which is pretty late for her, she's able to make friends with American, and at the same time, she also has a lot of Chinese friends. I think this unique cultural experience make her more acceptable to different cultures around the world. One time I noticed that her watching Japanese animation, and I know that she has lots of friends from France, Thailand, Holland.
Right now I'm just trying to finish this season. I still have half of it left coming back from winter session, and I'll just see wherever life takes me.